the American dream. I'm living my American dream, but what's my real? I wish I could sit home all day and fucking trade cryptocurrency and play Call of Duty Warzone, right, with my boys and
wife's cooking dinner. And then you relax.
Keep the family happy, have a bunch of kids, buy a store house, and it's all good. Put in some NBA parlays. That's my real American dream, right?
It's still,
but that's not fucking reality.
Right, you love your business, you're passionate about it, but it's still
hold on.
work.
Cindy from Bluebell Lane's calling. I have to deal with her. That's reality.
You still have to be on, as much as you're on your own watch as a business owner, you still have to be on other people's watches to run the business.
I'm just being genuine, yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline, yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah.
All right, so what's up, brother?
What's up, Pat?
How you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me over.
Yeah, no
I'm excited
problem.
to do this. I saw you doing this on your Instagram, man, and it was like cool, man. Like a hometown guy stepping out of the box, trying to do something different. And when you asked me to come over, it was like a no-brainer.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what you do too. That's kind of why I reached out to you. I see you on the gram and your stories. You're posting all your business marketing stuff, and I knew that, I wanted to have a guest that was doing something and that was kind of being creative with their craft, and I saw that. And you have the Zach's Precise Painting, right? Is that what it's called? And then ZP Remodel.
Yep.
So those are the two kind of main businesses you started.
Right.
So we'll get into those in a minute, and then you also dove into what it looks like the comeback season thing.
Yeah.
You were like a co-founder of that, or you founded it?
Yeah, so I found it. So it's comeback season sober living, and what it is, I mean, we can go right into it, but it's for guys who just get out of treatment, that suffer from drug addiction, alcoholism, anything of that sort. Which is pretty prevalent in today's day and age. You know what I mean?
Me and Mike were just talking about that.
Yeah,
it's
so
everywhere now with depression and the pandemic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that just opens it up even more. But so I have a partner, Craig, who's a friend of mine. And we actually both lived in sober living years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and what it is, it's like, so you go to, right, so like, let's say you're a 20-year-old kid, right, and you're suffering from drug addiction. You're a heroin addict. You're shooting heroin. You can't get sober. You're in and out of treatment. So what you do is you'll go to treatment for 30 days, 28 days, whatever it is. And then when you get out, it's like, okay, where do I go now? It's like, do I go back home where I was getting high with all my friends, or for older gentlemen, back home with the wife who wants to leave me, or whatever that looks like? No, you need to be in an environment with sober men, to try to, that early stage, that early, when you first get out of treatment is the most important to stay sober. So that's what we offer. We offer an environment. These guys move in. We're not government funded. We don't get checks from the
so it's
the
private.
state.
It's like a privately owned thing.
It's you move in, you pay your move-in fee, you get a job, you go to meetings, you get a sponsor, you work the 12 steps, you pay your rent, you make your bed when you leave in the morning, and you live in a house with up to 10 other guys that are sober, trying to do the same thing as you. And it's almost like a college dorm for dudes who are trying to get their life back on track. In a nutshell, that's kind of what it is.
No, I get the concept, and I think that's great. So what's like the average stay period? Like people, they sign kind of like a 6-month lease, if you want to even call it that, or they can stay 3 months, they can stay a month, they can stay 12 months.
So really, you can stay as long as you want. So like my experience, I got out of so I've been sober 9 years. I got out of treatment. It was my 4th treatment center. I got out in 2011. Out right outside Northeast Philadelphia.
Okay.
Got out of treatment, and my mom's like, "Look, dude, you're not coming home. So you got to go somewhere." But
she didn't want you home because of like your behavior. She was kind of upset with you. You had your relationship with her.
I'm a sweet talker, and it was just me and my mom. My dad actually overdosed and died when I was young, so it runs in my family. All my family's alcoholics. So look, I'm 21 years old. I'm shooting heroin. I'm in and out of treatment. I'm in and out of detox. I can't put it together. I'm a kid. I don't know which way's up. I'm in my 4th treatment center, and she's like, look, you know, I love you, but you got to figure this out. So she picked me up from rehab, dropped me off at this sober living right in Northeast Philly. It was called right outside Northeast Philly on State Road.
Like Ben Salem
Yeah,
area?
yeah, like a couple miles up from the prison, CFCF. And she dropped me off with a couple trash bags of clothes I had. She's like, look, dude, I'm going to write your check for the first couple weeks of rent, but then you got to figure it out on your own. Dude, and that place saved my life. Like this experience, bro. I walked in there. Dude,
and there's other gentlemen living there.
Imagine this. So I'm 21. I walk in this house, dude. It's beat down, run down. It smells like shit. There's this old dude standing in the kitchen when I walk in, frying a hot dog and a hamburger on a stove with long hair and a mustache. And he goes, hey, what's up, kid? And I was like, where the fuck am I? Like, how did I land here? You fast forward almost a decade later, is the best thing that ever happened to me. You know what I mean? It was just, it's mind blowing. So I moved into this house. I ended up getting a job at a diner, serving tables, as I say, slanging hash browns, right? I'm 21. And I'll tell you what, man, I was sober. I got a sponsor, and I was happier than a pig in shit if I could make $400 a week, pay my rent, have enough money for cigarettes, and to get Red Bulls and to catch rides to meet AA meetings.
You didn't catch rides. Did you not have a car?
At first, I didn't have a car.
Okay.
No, my mom ended up giving me, because my truck got impounded when I was getting high. So I got that back probably about 2 months sober. And then I was able to get to work and stuff like that. But when I first moved in, like, it was no games. It was like, look, kid, you got to pay your rent's due on Friday. If you don't have a job, your full-time job is to go find a job. And I'm like, well, I don't have a car, and it's December. And I'm like, all right, well, start walking, you know? And I had this sheet that I had to fill out, and I had to write in, like, all the places I went to apply for a job. And sure enough, within a couple weeks, I got the job at a diner, Clubhouse Diner, and I was working there. But I stayed at that house for 4 months, and then I got to a point where I was like, all right, it's time to make a move. So what I did is I moved to a sober living house, so this was called a recovery house. So they have a recovery house and a sober house. Same shit. The difference is that this next house I moved into, I had my own room and I had a little bit more freedom.
So is it kind of like, I don't want to put like a prison system stigma to it, but is it kind of like a halfway house type process where you kind of get back into the world? And the same concept of that, like you weren't incarcerated for something illegal. It was, you kind of had your own internal problems, and now you're trying to get back into the world with those struggles behind you.
Exactly. It's pretty much a halfway house without the whole prison concept behind it.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
that's what I figured.
You have a little more freedom. You know, it's not like I had to go check in with my PO or, you know, but I did have to pass drug tests. I did have to follow the rules, clean up after myself. You get a chore. You have to do a chore every day.
Is it voluntary? You can just, you went in there voluntarily because you had an option to go live with your mom.
Yeah.
So you voluntarily chose to put yourself in this environment.
Right. Not knowing what I was getting myself into.
Okay.
So I lived there for 4 months, and then I moved to a sober house over in like Bristol. It was like a couple miles away.
Right. PA. I know where that's at.
Right. And the only difference is that I'm not really getting drug tested as much. I have my own room. I can come and go as I please. Just have to clean up after myself and pay rent pretty much. It's a little more laid back because I had a little bit more time sober. So you can't move into this, what is called a sober house, until you have at least 6 months of sobriety. Right.
And that's where the drug tests come into play at the recovery house.
Correct. The recovery house is more strict. You're just coming out of treatment. Anything's possible. Dudes are getting high. I mean, dudes were leaving for the night and going out and dying. I mean, I'm finding dudes OD'd. Like, it's scary shit, bro.
It's a world that, like, I thank God that, like, I didn't fall into any of that, but I know that it's probably a world that's dark, that not a lot of people know how dark it can be unless they saw it. Like, there's probably things you witnessed that, you know, no one deserves to witness.
Right. People on the outside looking in, they say, oh, he's a junkie, he's a drug addict. Right. But they don't understand how deep these people, and even me, like, that we suffer. You know, we're really suffering. And, you know, we would stop if we could. You know, it's like, if this was alcohol and I'm an alcoholic, all I got to do is not take the first sip, right? And then I won't have a problem. It's the problem is my mind is going to tell me it's going to be different every time. And I don't have a choice I don't have any power or choice to take that first sip. I'm doing it anyway. I'm powerless, right?
Right. So the freedom of choice just goes out the window because of the the desire to have it. The
Right.
addiction takes your choices away from you.
Yeah,
You
so
have no choice. It's I'm going to do this drug.
To simplify it, we could get deep into it, but it's a threefold disease, right? And it's the body, the mind, and the spiritual malady, right? So what that means is that I have a mind that's telling me that I have to keep going and I can't stop, right? Okay. And then I have a body that once I put it in me, I actually physically can't stop. The mind is just going to continuously bring me back. And then I have this malady, like this like loss for life, right? So like you don't have a problem with drugs or alcohol, but you have this spirit about you, right? I've known you, Pat, for years. Yeah. So it's like, you have some type of purpose in your life. You're moving, you're grooving, you're buying a house.
I'm positive.
Exactly. You're going to the gym, you're starting little companies, you're getting involved with things that get you excited. It's a purposeful life. Drug addicts and alcoholics, I mean, from the time I woke up, from the time I went to sleep, was just to try to get $10 just so I could get high. Like
so
that
that's
was
the
it.
only purpose. That's the tunnel vision you would see. That's the only purpose.
Right, and I was missing something internally. And what you come to find out in the program is what you're missing internally is something bigger than you. Because I needed something bigger than me to realize that I'm not that fucking important, right? And in order to have that shift in my thinking, the way I view the world, the way I view you, the way I view my fiance, my job, whatever that looks like, I have to have a shift in my mind. And the program in AA, and getting sober has done that for me. And it's opened up every avenue that I have today in my life. My life is full. I have a lot of things going on. I have a house, a fiance, I'm getting married, cars, insurances, businesses,
right.
Tons of employees. I mean, all these things that pile up. I would have none of it if it wasn't for my sobriety.
Yeah, I got to give you a lot of credit because when things go south for people and when people get caught in these holes, these bottomless pits, it's hard to climb out. A lot of people have two choices. Choice A is easy. That's to continue to be weak and take the easy road and continue to get high. Choice B is to climb out and build an empire. The house, the kids, the mortgage, the businesses, right. The wife, the beautiful family, the American dream. Like that's hard to do as it is. You get caught up in drugs and you're in that bottomless pit. It's not. I guess my point is, it's probably fair to say not a lot of people can climb out as well as you did. It's very difficult to.
Right.
So you get a lot of props for that, and you found what worked for you. It sounds like
right
to climb out, and you've been doing in the last 10 years or so. It's been a 180. You've been doing so much, and is that why your experience there is that what led to you getting involved in the comeback season program and getting these houses ready for people? You want to kind of pay it forward? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, in a sense. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it is a business, but when you spin it back, it's a purpose thing. You know what I mean? I know what it's like to be down in the gutter and not know what the next move is and not know which way is up. And it's kind of the way God formed my life and the way he moved me. I mean, ever since I met my friend Craig, so Craig is actually the foreman of my painting company. He's been working for me for 6 years now. And ever since I met him, we had this bond, right? And he's one of my best friends. And
where did you meet him? Through
sobriety,
okay.
Yeah, through the program. And it's actually a funny story, but he lived in sober living too. And we would always talk about it years ago, 5-6 years ago. We would be like, wouldn't it be awesome if we could start our own sober living? And we kind of, mentally implanted that goal within the two of us. And opportunities just started to present themselves a couple years ago. And, I just kind of took advantage of it. How I got into it is kind of a crazy story in itself. But yes, it's a purpose thing. Is it a business? Do we have bills? Do we have to pay taxes for the business? Absolutely. So, it is a business. But at the end of the day, the joy that we get by seeing these guys come in and turn their life around, it's unmatched. It's absolutely unmatched. And we've been operating for maybe going on 2 years, I think, right now, around this time. Yeah, 2 years ago is when we opened our first house.
And with these houses, are you buying these properties, kind of fixing them up, making them, move-in ready for 10 guys?
Right.
Making it logistically ready for people to live in a sober situation, and then you go get another property and then you do the same thing?
So what we did, so the first one, well, this is kind of the formula that we created. So like me and Craig were trying to open a sober living, right? But we didn't have the cash to buy the house ourselves, because I just bought a house, he just bought his own house. So
Well,
it's
you
just,
need a down payment.
it's just the
50 grand's not
finances,
laying
yeah.
around. Right,
you know
right.
what I mean? He's 25, I'm 28 at the time, he's 24 at the time. We just didn't have the funds. So to make a long story short, see, this is how God works, right? This is how things come to fruition when you're doing the right thing. This lawyer, this Jewish lawyer, right? His name's David. Great guy.
Mike's Jewish. He'll appreciate this. You listening? Okay.
He's the man. So this guy lives in the neighborhood across from my neighborhood, and he runs every morning, right? That's his work. 6 o'clock in the morning, gets up and, goes for a couple mile run, whatever. Cool. He runs past my house every morning, right? And every day I have different vans sitting out in front of my house, ZP painting, ZP
So he's like,
painting.
what's this guy doing?
Yeah,
he's working. He's doing something.
He needed some painting done, right?
Okay.
So he writes my number down off the truck and calls me and goes, hey, I saw your truck, whatever. I need some painting done at one of my rental properties. So no problem. So I met him at the rental property, seemed like a straight shooter, cool dude. We did the job for him. He was happy. Emailed me a couple weeks later and says, hey, I see you're a contractor too. I don't know if you're interested in this, but I'm actually looking to, buy this duplex, renovate it, to rent it out. Can you come give me a quote on the cost of the construction work? And I said, absolutely. So me and my other partner, Mike, who we have
remodel.
ZP Remodel.
Yep.
Yeah, we go out there, we meet David, we check out the house, whatever. The numbers didn't end up working. So we go look at another house with him. Didn't work out. He keeps finding all these houses, right? So we could see he's motivated to buy a property and fix it up. So we keep meeting him out at these properties, check them out, to give them prices to get the scope of work done. We meet at this property. It's like pretty much on the border of Camden, and we got in. We're like, we don't really want to work out here, but we met him out there anyway. And Mike, actually, my partner, goes, yo, I wonder if David would be interested in doing something with sober living. I said, that's a good point. He goes, you should bring it up to him. So we're standing out front of this property, like I think it's Linwood, right? And we're standing out front, and I just kicked it to him. I'm like, look, David, we've been struggling finding a house for you to, renovate, to rent out yourself. I said, what if we formulated like a little deal here? I'm a sober guy. This is what pretty much I just told him like pretty much what I just told you. This is what sober living is. Right. It can be profitable. I'm very well connected in the sobriety world, right? Whether it's in PA, Jersey, Delaware, I know a lot of people. 10 years being sober, I know a ton of people. More than anyone my normal age would know.
Right, to
at
fill
that
those
age.
units.
I just know people. I've met thousands and formulated tons of relationships with people all over Jersey, PA, Delaware, just from being sober, going to different meetings, meeting different people, speaking at different meetings.
So you have a network of people that you could
Correct.
get to rent these rooms out. That's how he saw it.
Correct.
The lawyer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And pretty much I hit him with the spiel.
Yep.
And Mike, the way Mike, my partner, describes it is you just saw dollar signs in his eyes.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, we could probably do this. And that's what we did, man. From that day forward, we looked. We finally found our first house in Berlin. We closed on it. I think around this time, March, February of 2018, we closed on it. And the way we structured it was this. So I was kind of double dipping. Would I love to have the properties in my name and be paying the mortgage with my guy's rent? Yeah, absolutely. From a business entrepreneur standpoint,
yes.
Absolutely. That makes the most sense. But it just wasn't the way the cookie crumbled at the time. So I kind of had to do what I had to do. And me and Craig formulated Comeback Season Sober Living. There's no real reason behind the name. We just like it. Comeback Season.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You can tell the title kind of tells you what it is. Everybody loves a comeback.
And to be honest, I'm a different type of dude. And like a lot of these friggin' sober livings now, they're like Dove Wing Sober Living and Harmony Bay.
They kind of overkill the softness of it. I got you.
It's kind of soft. And we're like, we're a men's sober living house. Like, we accept the long shot. You know what I mean? Come on in. We'll get you better. We'll help you get your life together. It's comeback season.
Like, you don't sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
Like this is the good, bad, and the ugly. We're gonna get you back.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly. So that's kind of where the name came from.
So this lawyer, so what was the deal as you were continuing your story? The deal came out to where he kind of was the financial backing of the property.
In essence, yes. I mean, me and Craig had to put money out. The way it worked was he bought the property, then he paid ZP Remodel to renovate the property, right? So I had a contract with him for that. And then once the house was fully renovated, Craig and I, comeback season, signed a lease with him to rent the house from him. So we rent the house.
And you rent the rooms to the...
Right. The rooms, the beds, right.
Beds, right.
So we are licensed through the state of New Jersey. In 2018, they came out with a license called the Class F license. And what it simply means is that you can own and operate sober living in the state of New Jersey as long as you follow a few guidelines and you get licensed. So all our houses are licensed through the state. Pretty much just follow these rules. We have to get an inspection once a year, blah, 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 blah. It's all about the money.
Right.
And write them a check, the state of New Jersey. It's all about money. But it's cool because it allows us to do our thing. So that's how the first house went, Harker. 31 Harker. We call it Harker.
Street, yep.
Yeah.
Probably call it from the street name.
Right. And then we have Elm, and then we're actually closing on our new one in a couple weeks in Berlin, Broad Street. So the third one's on the way. But yeah, so then me and Craig would take over. And, when we first started, man, we didn't know. We're like, okay, like the renovation was done.
Now you're property to lease.
We signed the lease. We gave the deposit check, and it's like, all right, me and Craig kind of looked at each other.
Now you
like,
got to fill the beds.
We're open, right?
You got to fill the beds is like the next step.
So we had a friend of ours that was recently getting sober again. He came in and became the house manager at the time, and we just started on our grind. Now, meanwhile, I'm running 2 other companies while this is all going on. So I couldn't do it without Craig. You know what I mean? Like me and him, we're so different. We're almost like oil and water, right? But we're so in sync when it comes to like business. And they say
like your strength and his weakness collaborate with his strength and your weakness.
Correct. And it works out perfectly. And the trust factor is just undeniable. He trusts me with his life. I trust him with mine. It goes without being said.
Well, from a business standpoint, that's the best way to succeed in business because then everybody's making money, everybody's happy, no one's fucking each other.
Right.
And, I've started a couple businesses. It's funny you're saying you're double and triple dipping. I work, 60 hours a week. I got my truck business. I'm doing this. I'm trying to dabble and maybe do another startup.
You're fucking grinding, bro.
So I get it. When you said you got to wear the 3 hats for your remodel, your paint, and then now you got the comeback season hat you got to wear. So I fully get it. And it's hard to do it alone. You got to have help. It's just you can't be in 5 places at once. I tried to do that.
Right.
I'm not magic. So I realized I can't be in 5 places at once. I needed help. So I get how you could appreciate this Craig guy.
You have to realize that you can't do everything by yourself. Partnership is a beautiful thing in the world of entrepreneurship. And secondly, you have to do what you're good at. You know what I mean? Like my companies don't, if I put on my painter whites in the morning and go to the job to paint a kitchen or wherever job we're at, I'm not going to make as much money as if I'm managing 3 different painting crews.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that it takes time for that to evolve. Because I started my company, just me and this 50-year-old dude, and I picked him up from his recovery house every day because he was a painter.
You can't go get client 3, 4, 5, and 6,
right?
If you're at client 1's house for 3 days. So.
When I started my painting company for the first, let's call it 4 years, it was me and one other guy every day, 7 to 4 painting. That's it. If I closed a $1,500 paint job for the week, I was happier than a pig in shit because I could pay him, I could pay for the material, and I could put a couple dollars away. I was living at home at my mom's. I was 23. You know what I mean? I wasn't an LLC. I didn't have insurance yet. I was working out of a 2001 Ford Explorer with a friggin' wooden ladder strapped to the top. I shit you not. And a vinyl sticker on the back that said Zach's Precise Painting with a little figurine guy.
That's how everything has to start, though. And
exactly.
You were just probably posting little ads online or word of mouth. Somebody needed a little side job done. You did it. You paid your guy. You
exactly.
Were happy. And then it evolved. Clearly, it evolved. I mean, from what I can see, where are you at now? I mean, tell us. I mean, you got multiple trucks, guys out on the road, guys painting.
Right. Yeah, so it started with me and that guy, Jay. And it just, again, man, back to sobriety, back to living right, doing right, treating people right, doing the right thing, being honest, being hardworking. and being passionate, things grow, right, in the right way. And, it kind of just little by slowly. So like that Ford Explorer broke down. I finally was able to go and finance my own truck, my first truck, which is actually, it's still on the road today. It's like 8 years old. And I remember driving to the car dealership praying that like my credit was decent enough that I could get approved for this $13,000 truck. You know what I mean? But it did, man. And I remember driving off that lot. Like that's a pivotal moment in my life. I remember driving off that lot, Faulkner GMC out in PA, and saying, damn, I did it. I got my first truck. And then all of a sudden I hired another kid who's still with me today. 6 years he's been with me, this kid, Joey. And then I became an LLC. And then I got some insurance, right? And then I started putting a couple $100 a month into marketing. And, little by then I'm buying T-shirts and, the little things to stay. And when you're an entrepreneur, at that time I thought I was just a painter. Right? I thought I was I didn't even really understand the word entrepreneur. Today, I can tell you I'm an entrepreneur. What I'm best at is building a business, managing it, and keeping the people in it happy and the clients happy and money coming in. That's what I'm good at. And that's what I do every day, and it just kept growing. There was definitely bumps in the road, man. Then I bought my first van, and then I had a kid driving the van and me and Jay. And then I bought another van, and then Craig came on board, and then I had Craig driving a van, Joey driving a van, and me and Jay. And then little by slowly, closing bigger contracts, getting more into like the commercial painting world. I remember it was like probably 2015, I got a contract to paint the outside of 6 National Tire and Batteries. Pretty decently big buildings, right? And it was like a $50,000 contract, and it was like huge for me. I was like, oh my God, I fucking made it, dude. Like, this is great. I'm probably still paying taxes on that job, right, today. But it's just
on the income from it.
I'm bullshitting. Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother fucking subject. What I pay in taxes make you fucking sick, right? But
that's why, like, it's funny. I want to segue into something because, I think I saw a post you made on Facebook a while ago or Instagram something. You were kind of venting about like these people, they don't, a customer, you give quotes. People don't realize like the nut as a business owner you have to cover
they have no idea.
And they just think, Joe and Steve come in and paint the wall and leave and like every dollar goes into your pocket.
Right.
So when I deal with it all the time. I mean, no matter whether it's your business with paint or my one of my truck, drivers going out, my business, people don't understand that there's more involved. There's a reason why we're charging what we're charging. And like, there's just a lot. I see ignorance is truly bliss. There's a lot of ignorance in just people's mindsets on what things really, they're just out of touch with why things cost what they cost and what they even cost, because they don't understand the insurance you got to pay. You got to pay your helpers, your workers. You got to pay for the labor, the time you're going to be there, the material alone. They just think everything grows on trees. So it's funny. And then you got to pay the taxes on income, and that's a whole nother thing. So like you said, as an entrepreneur, and I would also consider myself an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, like you said, you made a good point. It's not, I don't care if I'm selling widgets, if I'm painting, if I'm moving your couch, or if I'm making you a pizza. That's not like what I'm good at.
Right.
I'm good at getting the customer or the client in. I'm good at getting the name out there, and I'm good at bringing the revenue in.
Right.
I don't care what you can throw me into, any type of business, product, or service, and I'll use that same concept I use with my business on that, maybe tweak it and cater it to that specific niche, and like you said, and I'll manage and oversee. And I think we're very similar in that regard. And that's why I had you come in, because I think we have very similar mindsets on business and visions of how to create income. So it's just interesting that you kind of hit the nail on the head with just running a business. It doesn't matter what it is. It's the idea that it's the business that you're running, not the product.
And it brings you to the point where you don't have to be the absolute best at what you do. You have to be able to finesse it so you can put the money in the hands of the person who can do it the best to get it done, right? If that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and talking about clients and shit, and people don't understand the cost. I'll tell you this: if you first of all, I won't go look at a job for a 1-bedroom, a bedroom repaint. call me egotistical. It's just not what my company does. It's
Right.
we don't make money doing that. You know what I mean? So, but if I were to come and they say, Zach, what's it cost you to paint my bedroom? $800. $800. What do you mean $800 to paint my bedroom?
Right.
Yeah, $800.
That's what it is.
Why? How could it possibly be $800? I'll tell you why.
And then you list 15
I'll tell you why
reasons,
it's
and I'm
$800.
like, oh, I didn't think of that.
Because we don't just paint parts of things. If we're coming to paint a bedroom, we're painting 2 coats on the walls, 2 coats on the ceiling, 2 coats on the trim, 2 coats on the doors, and 2 coats on the closet. Now that's 2 guys for 2 days. My foreman makes X amount a day. The helper that's going to be with him makes X amount a day. That plus that times 2 is this, plus the cost of your material, plus the cost of time and gas. So where's my 10% profit to put in Zach's Mertzig's pocket, and where's the 15 to 20% that needs to go in the ZP painting account, right? To pay the taxes that are going to come in at the end of the year on that $800 bill. You know what I mean? It's just they don't understand all the things that come into play.
100%.
I mean, if I told you what I paid in car insurance for my 4 trucks, my commercial, you'd be sick. The workers' comp.
Everything.
Dude, workers' comp almost makes you not want to be a contractor in New Jersey. And I mean, we could have this conversation with any contractor goes, but here's the deal. If you don't have it, you're not legit. And if someone gets hurt on your job, I mean, we're doing
on ladders.
We're doing 6-foot story exterior hotels and shit like that. Someone falls and breaks his neck or gets paralyzed, I'm done.
They're coming after everything you own.
I'm
Your house.
done. And they're going to successfully get it.
Yep. You
Doesn't
have to
matter. I'm
have
not
it.
protected by an LLC.
Right. You got to have the workman's comp.
Dude, you have to have it. So it's like all these things come into play. And at the end of the day, I was just talking to my buddy the other day, and it's like he's a contractor. And I'm friends with contractors because you have to be. And it's like there's no competition. There's enough work out there for everybody.
Okay.
But like, I'm convinced there's 2 types of people in this world: good clients and shitty clients. You know what I mean? And there's a lot, dude. People are shitty.
Oh, I deal with them in my line of work and the side business that I own. I deal with the same thing. I'll be on a job if I'm on the job with my helpers and my main guy Tommy, and we'll walk in and like you said, there's really no in between. It's either Mr. Jones is a great guy, he's easy to deal with, it was pleasant, or Mr. Jones is just from the jump. It's just you get a bad vibe, and there's really no in between. And I guess I've worked in the service industry. I've been a server. I've dug ditches. I've painted. I've done heavy, hard work that a lot of people don't really appreciate. So if I were to stand on the other side of the fence looking in, and I'm the Mr. Jones, I'm appreciative of any type of work anyone's going to do if they're working hard. And I just see it in some of these customers' eyes. They don't appreciate shit, and they don't value your time. It's like it's a respect thing.
And here's the core. You go back to the core of business, and it's like, what's the main thing? No matter what the industry, the customer's always right?
And that's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow.
It's true.
He'll tell you he deals with a lot of idiots at his job.
And listen, to be successful, there's truth in that. The customer is always right. To an extent.
Right.
There's always a time that you have to draw the line in the sand for your own dignity and say no. You know what I mean? You have to be, because at the end of the day, to be successful in any business, I feel like you have to be able to detach your emotions from the business. You can't bring your emotions into it, or you're already done.
The numbers aren't working.
You're done.
X plus Y doesn't equal Z here. I can't do it. Or your expectations or your requests are unreasonable.
Right.
For this particular scenario.
I've been through it all,
Can't do it.
brother. Court, small claims court, workers' comp claims, get lawyers. I've been through it all, and at the end of the day,
And people nowadays, they'll fucking sue you for anything.
anything, bro.
Their MO is to take what you work for.
Anything,
And that's the problem.
And that's why you have to cross your T's and dot your I's, brother. You have to have insurance, and you have to play by the rules, or you're a sitting duck. You're a sitting duck.
Yeah, it's funny, it's not like my dad started his business in 1986, and it's not like it was 30, 40 years ago. Now there's way more regulations, like you said. People have gotten savvier with trying to come after you, and there's more protections for the consumers, and the inspections
bullshit.
It's
bullshit.
The fees, it's very hard now compared to like 30, 40 years ago. It was a different world to start a business in, and my dad realized that, and he got out. But you could still be successful now, but like you said, it's today's climate and culture is very, got to cross your T's, dot your I's, because like you said, the average Mrs. Jones, they're vicious. They'll come after you.
But then you have clients that are easygoing and they let you do your job. You know, it's like when I come to you and say I'm done and expect payment, right? Final payment is when you can walk around and say, okay, but what about this? But what about that? But in the middle of jobs, this isn't
shoulder,
done. Yeah.
What's this?
We're not done. Yeah, we're not done.
We know what we're doing.
That's why you hired me.
We know, believe it or not, Mrs. Smith, like I've done this before.
Right.
We know whether I'm bringing a couch, I'm installing someone's fridge. My guy Tommy's an expert. He's Mr. Handy. You know, Mrs. Smith, we got it. We've done this before. Believe it or not. I understand I can relate 1,000%.
Good.
I know how people are.
And the way I approach everything now is that everything's fixable. You know what I mean? And as long as you're a reasonable human being, you can always come to a solution.
Absolutely.
To anything. I mean, I've dealt with a lot in 8 years, right? And I'm sure I'm going to deal with a lot more because things just keep growing on a bigger scale, which is cool. But anything's fixable, and everything can be brought to a solution. And that's kind of what I'm best at, you know?
Being reasonable, kind of the PR, the face, the one that can
because look, when you're
situation.
like, we do some pretty big jobs, right? And ZP Remodel, like we just closed a $100,000 job. We're starting next month. We just bid an $85,000 job.
And these are like residential kitchens and bathrooms, or are these commercial kitchens?
So no, ZP Remodel, we do not do commercial. We're not a commercial construction.
Okay, so you're doing
company. Residential, like
kitchens,
custom
bathrooms.
built-ins, custom bathrooms,
Wood.
custom kitchens,
Okay.
reclaimed. I mean, we do it all, right? Flooring, you name it. Painting, we do a ton of commercial work. Like we're starting a 6-figure contract in the spring. We're painting 3 12,000 square foot mansions on a golf course. So that's like a big job. So we do large scale stuff, right? And I lost. What were we saying? I lost
how people are unreasonable.
How people are unreasonable. That was fine. We were flowing pretty good there.
No, they are, but they are. No. But speaking of that, there are the good customers and the bad ones. And I'll be kind of overseeing a job, let's say, and I got and like you said, I haven't been doing what I've been doing long, but I've been in a lot of situations. I've seen every type of curveball, and I'm going to see more. And I got Tommy or Bruce or whoever my helpers are, and I got them on the job. And, I can see that, like you said, it's fixable. Something could have maybe went wrong. That's not the end of the world. And that's where I come in and I talk to the customer. And like you said, if you're a reasonable person and you see that I'm being reasonable, you can work something out.
Right.
And it's as starting a business and managing it like what you do, people don't realize that's a skill in itself, just to be able in the legal industry, they call it client control. You got to kind of keep your client happy. You got to control them, and you have to keep them, from trying to fuck you.
Right. And at the end of the day, you have to be able to set the tone with your employees.
Yes.
Like, for instance, for the painting company, I have 5 full-time painters. Right. And then for the remodeling company, Mike and I are partners, 50-50 partners. And then we have 3 full-time employees. So like some of these newer guys that work for me for the painting company have never really even seen me work. Where like my established guys like Craig and Joey, who have been with me for years, they used to work right alongside me because I used to be in the field working, like physically painting or physically installing shit, whatever that looks like. And now the ongoing joke is like I'll bust these guys' balls. I'll be like, sometimes I'll pull up to a job and I'll like something's not done right, and I'll have to do it myself. And I'll be like, sometimes you got to get out of the truck and get your hands dirty. Show them why it's your name on the side of the truck. Because here's what I've come to deal with employees. They get comfortable. Right?
Yes.
Employees get comfortable and they start to expect certain things, right? They expect the pay to be on time every Friday because it always is, right? They expect a certain amount. They expect to leave when they think things are done or whatever. I mean, we could go on forever.
They expect for last week was smooth. This week, hopefully, is the same smoothness. Sometimes it's going to be harder.
I'm a nice guy, but sometimes I can be a dickhead, right?
Some days are going to be better than others.
It comes with being, with doing what I do. Sometimes I got to keep the guys on their toes, man. I got to be, because at the end of the day in business, everyone is replaceable. Everyone.
Oh, yeah.
So if you think you're the king fucking honcho and my company would fail miserably if you left, then fucking here's the door, brother. You know what I mean? Because I built this by myself, which means it will continue to grow by myself.
With or without you.
So to any new entrepreneurs out there, it's like if I can say anything, trust your process. You know what I mean? You built it from the ground up. It's going to continue to grow as long as you stay motivated. And sometimes you hit these lulls, right? I'm sure you can identify with me, Pat. It's like sometimes you just one week you wake up, you just don't have the juice, right? Like you don't have the fire that you had in the beginning or whatever. You know, a couple things don't go your way. I try to find little things I can do to get me excited again about the company, right? Whether it's order some new hoodies for the guys or get some new
marketing.
Right, creative marketing.
Video.
Do a post,
commercial.
do a video. We do tons of videos and shit like that. Yeah. Shout out to Vendetti Visuals. He does all my videos, but
I'll have my editor plugged in.
Yeah.
We're gonna do pictures and plugs on the screen.
Cool.
My editor's good.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
love him.
I'll get his tag. We'll get his IG handle. and
Yeah,
everything.
we'll put him on there, everybody. But stay invested in your brand, man. Like I see all these people wanting to do these startup companies and these, what are they called, the pyramid things? And
it's funny.
everybody wants to be their own boss until it's
Right.
time to do what people who are their own boss do, right?
Right. You know, it's funny. It's so funny you brought that up. Me and Mike were talking about that. It's, you know, we talk about that every day when we're working during the day. And today's American, like the American dream 50 years ago, in my eyes, used to be, you know, you work for some big company, you get your paycheck every week, you pay your bills, you have the house, the kids, the wife cooks, whatever.
Right.
But I feel like now, everything's the technology and how the world just has
Social
changed.
menew just distorting everything.
Right. I think because of all that and the technology advances in business, I think the new American dream is to, everybody probably could agree with this, is to not go work your 9 to 5. It's to not have a 9 to 5.
Exactly.
It's to work for yourself, have this
Exactly.
financial freedom because everybody sees so-and-so doing it.
On social media or on
Exactly.
Instagram.
But the problem is not everyone can be the boss. Like you have to have the worker bees to work and make the guy at the top the money. So it's interesting to me because the American dream that I see for myself, and only not everybody is going to have that in them to do it.
Right.
The American dream that I see for myself, that I'm confident in, just as I see you have it in you as well, is to be able to work for myself, to be diversified, to have my hands in different avenues.
100%. It's the only way.
And that's the only way. You're going to work and doing your 40 hours and punching out. That's number one. That's just kind of like, you know, modern day slavery. And number two, it's never going to get you to, your money has to eventually work for you.
Exactly.
And I see
it takes time to get there,
it takes
though.
time, and everybody wants to be a TikTok influencer and build whatever, you know. Oh, I'm just building my brand. Well, what's your brand? I mean, some people got good at it. And
Right.
Listen, they monetize the shit out of it, and that's great. But like anything else, it becomes a fad and it gets saturated. And now every Tom, Dick, and Harry
Want to do
just
it.
go on Instagram and act like they're doing something and maybe hope they make it. But like,
You know what? Another thing too. I was just talking to my buddy. Like my American dream, I'm living it. So I'm very blessed and grateful for that.
you
right?
said you're engaged, right? You're
I'm engaged.
newly
Yeah.
engaged.
Well, not newly. It's a story in itself. Me and Janine got engaged almost 3 years ago now.
Okay.
We got engaged in 2018 in the fall, right? And it was like immediately to wedding planning. She's like, I want to get married in the fall, but next fall's too soon because it's already fall.
So then 2020
So we
fall
did
was
2020
pandemic.
fall,
Yeah.
and now you know what
So you
happened in
pushed it back, right.
So we're getting married this upcoming fall, 2021. So
Okay,
it'll
so
be
it's-
3 years.
Okay.
But real quick, just to backtrack, me and my buddy Boz were talking about it yesterday. The American dream. I'm living my American dream, but what's my real? I wish I could sit home all day and fucking trade cryptocurrency and play Call of Duty Warzone, right, with my boys and
Wife's cooking dinner and then you relax.
keep the family happy, have a bunch of kids, buy a store house, and you know it's all good. Put in some NBA parlays. That's my real American dream,
like,
right?
it's still,
but that's not fucking reality.
Right, like you love your business, you're passionate about it, but it still
Hold
is
on,
work.
Cindy from Bluebell Lane's calling. I have to deal with her. Like
Right, right.
that's reality.
You still have to be on, as much as you're on your own watch as a business owner, you still have to be on other people's watches for just to run the business.
And you talked about like things getting saturated. Like my buddy Boz, he's real good at the Xbox Warzone. We play it. I love it, right?
Right.
It's one of my, when I get to free time, I go down to base, I play it. He's real good. We talked about, he's like, I should stream. I should be a streamer.
Right, because
now everybody's a fucking Facebook streamer.
Everyone's on Twitch trying to make millions.
Facebook GG, Facebook streamer,
Twitch.
yeah, Twitch.
That's the thing. It's so, it's so, at this point, it's everybody is on an equal playing field now. Everybody has access to the internet and a social media account. So it's becoming that much harder. What does the term like famous even mean anymore?
I know.
Anybody's famous is up to interpretation. Anybody that maybe can go viral from stupid shit online is now famous. Now, like how they capitalize on that opportunity to monetize it, that's up to them. But like you said, the video games, he wants to go do Twitch. Nowadays everybody's a forex trader, a crypto trader.
Oh yeah,
everybody's a fucking GameStop
but
trader.
What he said is some guy did the math or whatever, or broke it down that if you went and started a Twitch today, you have a better chance of getting struck by lightning than making it as a Twitch streamer. Like that brings in hundreds of $1,000s a month from just sitting there people watching you play video games.
With those lightning in a bottle type ventures,
right?
You have to be. With those lightning in a bottle type ventures, you have to be like first to market. You got to be that guy that won the Fortnite thing. All right, great, 3 million.
Right.
Those guys in that arena did it first. Same with there's a lot of, I guess I'm not that versed on TikTok, but I know it's a thing. And there's people making a lot of money on it, but
tons of fucking money.
But those
you money.
Those were the first to get it, and then there was these YouTube houses back in like 2016. They were all filming YouTube vlogs and doing stupid shit. And again, at this point, things move so fast now. You within 6 months, you're too late.
Exactly.
You're not making it.
It's a monkey see, monkey do. That's why be genuine to yourself. You know what I mean? Do it on your own. Like when I tell people, they're like, oh, it must be nice to own a couple businesses, this, that, and the third. They don't fucking know what went in. Lot. You know what I mean? I started the painting company at 23 years old with $500 in my bank account. You know what I mean? I ordered business cards off Vistaprint, okay? And I was serving tables at Ponzio's Diner at night, 5 days a week. And I made a Facebook post. Hey guys, here's the way it happened with my painting company.
Looking to paint, just give me a message.
I was living at my mom's house, serving tables. I'm 23, serving tables at Ponzio's. No real plans. Do I go back to college? I'm a couple years sober, right? So I have something going for me. Her hot water heater busts. And she goes, Zach, you used to paint for a dude when you were younger. When I was young, getting high, I painted for this dude from Del Ram for $10 an hour. She's like, why don't you paint the house and I'll save some money on the insurance claim. I'll be able to put a couple dollars in my pocket. I said, no problem. So I painted the house. It came out pretty good. My uncle comes over. He goes, damn, dude, you paint the house? I said, yeah. He goes, I got a couple bedrooms at my house. Why don't you come over to my house and paint a couple bedrooms at my house? I said, I could do that.
Bulb. You saw something.
So I went over there. Not yet. I'll tell you when I saw the light bulb. Okay. I went over there. I painted. This dude comes and I painted like 2 or 3 bedrooms, which is like nowadays is like a $2,500 job for me. He hands me $500. And I'm looking in my hand and I'm like, yo, I could fucking make some money doing this painting thing, right? So I order some business cards offline and I'm like, I'm going to name it Zach's Precise Painting, right? And I make a Facebook post. Hey, friends and family, if you need anything painted, I'm a painter now. And that's... Dude, and I sucked. No, but I sucked at painting. Like, I wasn't good.
You probably got some bites and some messages.
I did. I did like a laundry room from a friend I went to high school with, her parents. And I was like, yo, this is it. This is it.
It all started to roll. It rolled slow at first, but it rolled.
It rolled slow. And I would do something on the weekends, you know what I mean? But still serve tables at Ponzio's. I had to, right?
Because it wasn't steady enough to make that.
No, not even close. And then I met Jay. And Jay was a dude that I helped get sober. He was in his 50s, right? He was an alcoholic. And the way...
He's the guy that's been with you
No.
Oh, what was his name?
His Craig.
Okay, gotcha.
So I met Jay. So you know Matt Bosman.
It sounds familiar.
You probably know him if you've seen him. He's a Mount Laurel kid.
Okay.
One of my best friends. Whatever.
Good kid?
Good kid. I'm
kid.
sober at the time. He's sober. He's working at the gas station. Saturday, he calls me. He's calling me. I'm not answering. I'm sleeping in, dude. It's Saturday. It's like 12 o'clock. He comes and wakes me up. He's like, yo, dude, this dude that I work with, Jay, at the gas station, he's fucked up out of his mind, bro. We got to help him. We got to help the guy.
Okay.
I said, all right, dude, we'll go help him. So we get in the car, we drive over to Jay's house. We walk in. The dude is smashed, bro, with a handle of vodka in his. He's a 50-year-old dude. I never met him,
problem.
and he's just slumped over. And we get there. I'm like, boss, dude, we can't help this guy. Like, how are we gonna help this guy? He's smashed. I said, all we can do is dump out the alcohol. I'll leave my phone number, and if he calls, we'll help him, you know? And sure enough, this fucking guy called, and I started helping this guy. I started sponsoring him, taking him through the 12 steps in AA. And he's doing good. And we just shooting the shit, and I was like, yeah, I just started doing like a little side painting stuff. He's like, dude, I've been painting for 30 years.
So he was good at the craft.
Really good.
So his talent was there.
Really good, right?
And you were saying, like, obviously you painted your mom's house. Like, you weren't the best painter.
No, I didn't really know much, dude. I knew enough to get by.
But
like,
his quality of work was definitely better.
He knew how to paint a whole outside of a house by himself.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, he
He
knew.
had the skill down.
And I was like, all right, dude, well, when I get a side job, you can come work with me. He's like, yeah, absolutely. I got my first side job. He came and worked for me. And it got to the point where, like, I started closing these little jobs, and Jay started coming on. I'm like, yo, bro, I think I had to quit the diner. I had to quit the diner because we just have too much painting work. We're making money.
The volume was just there.
I'll never forget the day. It was me and Jay in the truck, and we drove to Ponzio's, and I parked out back, and I had a good relationship with the owners over there. Shout out to Ponzio's. The Fifuses, they took care of me. I showed up. I did my job. I was good at it.
You told him you got.
And I walked in and I said, look, I'm moving on to this. And people that I worked with, like the older, like grumpy ladies that have been serving tables for 20 years.
They don't like the risks.
God bless them. Right. God bless them.
They saw you taking.
But they saw me and they were like, "Oh, you're going to start your own painting company?"
Right,
I said,
right,
"Yeah,
like,
fucking right. I'm going to start my own painting
to them,
company."
that's a risk. They don't take risks.
Right.
Right.
And I was like, "Absolutely." I was like, "You just wait and see." And I walked in the back of the kitchen and I said, "John, I'm going to do this painting thing." He said, "You ever need a job, you come back to me. You're welcome back." And that was it.
You left on good terms. You did it right.
Absolutely.
You never burn a bridge, and you never burn a relationship, because at the end of the day, he helped you.
So that brings me back to the point where we're talking about how people want to get famous or rich for nothing instantaneously, for not putting in any footwork. That was just the very beginning to build where I am today, and a lot more in between. But it just nothing comes without hard work.
Right.
There's
really no shortcut. There's no easy way.
Isn't.
There's always going to be a catch.
There's going to be a couple come ups.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be a couple, knockdowns. It's just the way it is. You might hit a fucking $500 scratch off one week. There's gonna be good weeks, and there's gonna be, bumps in the road, man, adversity. But it's how you walk through that and how you come out the other side. And did you learn from it? You know what I mean? There's two types of people. There's the people that get knocked down and say, I can't do this. I got to go back, work for the man. You know what I mean? And then there's people who are like, I'm gonna learn from this, and I'm going to be better from it, And
right.
that's what it comes down to.
No, that's a great point. I have the same mindset. When I try to take a lesson out of everything, the logic that I have is, if something doesn't work out or something doesn't go my way, and it, obviously the situation will suck.
Right.
So I say, well, I need to get something positive out of this. So let me not let that thing beat me. Let me win. So something didn't work out, a business venture, a relationship, whatever. I'll say, okay, well, the positive out of this is, what is the lesson that I learned? And I'm going to take that lesson almost like as an investment, and I'm going to use that for my next thing that I try. I'm going to remember that lesson, and it's going to benefit me, and I'm going to get like that much closer to the top to become successful or wealthy. So the lessons, like you said, if you're not learning a lesson, you're not taking anything positive from that situation where you got. I try to just look at it like pragmatically. I want to take something out of it.
Yep.
If I didn't physically get the job or the contract or the girl or whatever, I can get something, intangible out of it, which is the lesson, and I can use, and there's value in that. Something
you can learn from it, either help yourself later down the line, or help somebody else, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There it goes. Oh, and that's like a forgotten thing nowadays.
What, helping someone else?
Is like helping someone else, or being purposeful to your fellow.
It's vanity.
Man.
It's I want to look cool on TikTok for 9 seconds. It's
Everyone's so self-consumed. I fall short to it.
Yeah, we're all.
You know what I mean?
How cool I am. We're all guilty of it. We all are. But then there's people that take it a little too far, where, and it even goes to like the dating world. And I've discussed this with other guests. And the root cause is the vanity, and I think some of the symptoms of that is to not give a shit about anybody but yourself.
Right.
So it's really hard for people to care about someone or go out of their way for someone because they're just so consumed with wanting everyone to look at them.
Right. I'm so glad that I'm so far removed from that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like,
you're blessed.
and not even that. It's just the mental spin that you take on it. It's like you do for others, and more gets done for you. The more I put out, it's like an energy thing too.
Right. No,
it's
it
like
is.
I'm huge on like the power of positive thinking and like just keeping a positive energy and aura about it. And like you bring up like dating and like my fiance, man, like we work so well. Like I'm so grateful for her, and everything that I have going on in my life is because she supports me. You know what I mean? And she keeps a positive energy about herself, and she wants to do better, and she wants to be better. And when I'm falling short, she picks me up, and when she's falling short, I pick her up. And that's the type of relationship. Because here's the deal: if you're thinking about yourself all the fucking time,
which everyone does,
right?
Now. A lot of people.
You're never gonna have true happiness.
Right.
The only time you can get true happiness is when, dude, this old dude that used to help me out, he was my grand sponsor. He would have guys come to him and be like, hey, Eddie, I'm depressed. Like, I don't know. I'm depressed. I don't know what's wrong. He goes, you're depressed. He goes, you're depressed because all you do is think about yourself, and you're a depressing motherfucker. Get out of your own head and go help somebody else. I guarantee you'll feel better.
Right, that'll make them feel happy, and they didn't think that was a place I should look.
How many people nowadays think I'm gonna pick up the phone and call my friend just to see how his day's going? Usually there's a motive. I need something. Yo, can you help me move? Yo, can you help me and come paint my basement? Yeah. Yo, what are you doing? What are you doing this weekend? Because I selfishly want to get out this weekend. So what can we do?
Right,
or it's not just like, yo, Bob, yo, Matt, how's your day going, brother? Just checking in with you. Everything cool?
You want me to bring over lunch?
It's little things like that. Yo, I'm stopping here. You want me to pick you something up? Like, it's the little things, man. It's like when you can get out of your own way is when you can truly be free as a human, And like you talked about, man, the social media and all that shit. Me and my wife talk about it all the time. And it's because I busted her.
I think I met her once.
Janine, you might have met her at the gym.
I ran into you somewhere.
Yeah,
you were like, yo, Pat, here's my wife. Or, girl, whatever she was at the time.
Right. I call her my wife because we've fucking been engaged for like half a decade.
Yeah, I think I met her once. But
she's technically not my wife.
Seems like a good girl.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's awesome. But I forget what I was going to say.
You were going to say you and her talk about
I bust her balls because she'll be. I don't have a TikTok.
Yeah, I don't have it either. I mean, apparently,
but she'll be on TikTok and scrolling. She actually finds some cool shit on there too, like dogs and like funny dog videos.
Right. It's entertainment. It's
It's
what?
Yeah. Seriously, but I'll bust her balls or whatever. But and I say to her, if it wasn't for. Because I have a personal Instagram.
And then the business.
I have a ZP paint remodel Instagram.
I wouldn't have Facebook if I wasn't making money off of it.
And I have a comeback season Instagram and Facebook. If I didn't have to be on that shit to make money, I could completely do away with it. I actually tried to delete my personal Instagram. Just because I don't have a fucking need for it. Because once you have, they're all linked to the same email. I can't get rid of it.
And then you can kind of cross promote on all the IGs.
Right.
It makes your business Instagram more visible.
Correct.
You can drive people to it. But I couldn't agree more. If I didn't have my truck thing going, that's the only reason I have Let's use Facebook for example. That's the only reason I have it to get customers. I mean, I don't think I've posted like a really like a personal status about like my thoughts on something in like 6 years. Because number one, like nobody cares what my thought is on anything.
Right.
And number two, I don't care what they think about what I think.
Right.
So like, but if I'm gonna say you need something moved and you have a small car and you have a big problem, I have the truck. I'll come take your money.
Right.
I want you to hear about that. So,
right.
But if, like you said, anything short of the business side, and then now with my podcast, Instagram, trying to get the content out there, Nobody needs to know where I'm going to dinner.
Right.
Nobody needs to know who I'm dating.
But unfortunately, it's there for me. It's there because of business, so I do fall
Naturally,
victim.
right.
Like
We're all
me and
gonna
Janine
fall
go
victim.
out to dinner, I'll be like, eating dinner with
Look at this
with
steak.
my love,
Yeah,
and I'll
yeah.
post a steak. Does anyone really give a fuck about what my steak looks like? No, but it's like an internal thing. Like I
Right.
have to feel like I'm part of the world because the world posts their dinner. on
Right. So
Instagram.
we
It's
are
a
falling.
mental-
Right, we are involved and engulfed in it, but we're smart enough to know that we're not going to be obsessed with it.
to see through it. It doesn't define who you are.
Right,
Just
right.
like my tattoo, my outfit doesn't define who I am. What I drive doesn't define who I am.
Right.
What I do for a living doesn't define who I am. How I treat my fiance, how I treat my mom, how I treat my friends. Do I have these small principles that we learn early in life, like honesty, integrity,
And you can't-
doing the right thing?
and you can't put
It's
a-
that kind of shit that makes you who you are.
You can't put a dollar figure on any of that. You could have $1 in your pocket, or you could have 10 million. Every act of kindness and how you act towards
Happiness
people
comes from within.
how
brother.
you act towards me is what counts, not what's in your pocket. So
if I'm not
there's no
okay,
dollar figure to
right?
that.
If I'm not okay with me, I'm not going to be okay with you, and so on and so forth, and the snowball rolls downhill. You know what I mean?
Exactly. No, it's thank you for the extra water there. My throat was parched. So let's branch into another topic here.
Yeah. What do you got for me? Thanks, bro.
So let me look at my notes here because I wanted to talk to you about. Okay, I wanted to talk about this. You briefly touched on it, and it was going to be a good segue. So I want to hear your take on the whole college thing, the educational system. Because me and Mike were talking about this before you came in, and you're going to agree to it. You're 18 years old, just got out of high school. I mean, what the fuck do we know at 18? I'm 18, you're 18. We just got out of high school. Our priorities are so out of whack.
Right.
Why are we supposed to decide what we want to do and major in college at 18? By 23, just 5 years later, where you're still very young, you could have a totally different interest and want a totally different path for your life. So you kind of had that crossroads. You were deciding, do I go back to school? Do I not? What's for me? What's not for me? And I just want to hear your thoughts on what can we do to fix that? 18-year-olds are kind of getting pressured. Oh, I got to be a history major. Okay,
right.
well, how do you know that's what you want to do?
Right.
And how do you know that that's going to pay your bills? I believe in trades. I believe in education's good, but you can be successful. The parents today just force their kids to go to college. And I just want to hear your take on that.
That's how my mom was. She was like, you got to go to college or you're not
accepted in society.
correct.
Yeah. It's.
Dude, at 18, I didn't know who I was or what I stood for. I had no fucking idea what I wanted to do. And
everybody's 18 and thinks that. You're not alone.
Education's a great thing, but I think we're educating the wrong way. You know what I mean? And look, in our lifetime, are we ever going to see a change? Probably not.
Yep. So we just,
because I believe this is getting real deep down the rabbit hole, but I believe that there's a certain few people in this world that kind of pull all strings in all matters, in all categories, right?
Mike, what do you know where he's going, Mike?
I think my kids are going to be speaking Chinese.
Yeah, it's very possible. I think they do what they want us to do, right? Mainstream. I feel like free thinkers are what's the word?
It's taboo now. It's
right,
like,
you're a bad person
you're a bad
if you
person.
can think for yourself.
Right.
And the whole political left and right, it's fucking crazy. But at the end of the day, I think I would be I can't speak for me, but I would be happy if when my kids go to high school, if instead of study hall and history about the World War II and Cold War and all that shit.
What about biology? About mitochondria,
biology,
and,
all that shit. Fuck it all.
And mitosis.
And junior year, senior year, I want my kids to learn how to establish and maintain good credit. I want my kids to learn how to balance a checkbook and work with finances and understand.
No one teaches you that.
Understand stocks and bonds and IRAs and 401ks and ways to set yourself up for the future.
Real estate, how to go through a real estate transaction, how to close on a property, how to get a loan.
What loans are, what APRs are, what interest is.
Yeah, all that.
All this stuff is so vital especially when you're 20, 21, 22, 23 and you're coming into the world. It's so vital to have this information at your fingertips. And it's a foreign language it was a foreign language to me. I'm sure it is kids now because we're so lost.
And it's funny. There's how old are you? You're like my age.
I just turned 30.
Right. So you're like, I'm 31. You're a year younger than me. There's 30 years old. There's 30-year-olds, 29-year-olds who don't even know like how like they don't even know what a mortgage really is. Think about that. There's 30-year-olds out there that have never bought a property, which it's not a bad thing, but there's grown people older than the age of 25 that don't even know like the difference between what paying rent is and paying a mortgage. Just basic concepts when it comes to your finances,
right?
And being able to own a property or just basic stuff when it, like you said, with putting your money
because they
together.
don't want you to be successful.
Right.
They don't want you to know at an early age to get ahead. They want you to be a puppet, blindly walking with college debt out the ass.
Because now you can't get ahead with that debt. They have you by the balls because you have that debt.
You can't. I saw a thing online the other day. It made so much sense. It was like the bank doesn't think I make enough money for this $1,200 mortgage, so instead I'll just rent for $2,500.
Yeah.
Like what?
It's backwards. But the bank and the 1%ers win.
Right. They're saying
because now the 1%ers that own that
you're not
property,
qualified
right.
to pay this $1,500 a month payment for a mortgage. So you have to go rent for $3,500 for a smaller apartment.
Like the mob.
Right.
Well, like you said, it's there's a underlying smoke screen of what's really going on. What that really translates to is they're just continuing to be able to control you and have all the leverage, because now if they let everybody buy, the people that own the properties, they won't be able to rent it to anyone, and that's how you acquire wealth.
It's all a game. Yep. Yeah, real estate is the way to go. You know what I mean? But it's all a game. And it's across the board with everything. Like, I'll just give you a quick, brief example, like as far as insurance goes. Fucking scam, right? Okay.
Why do you think they're the most wealthy companies?
Long story short, a couple years ago, I had a workers' comp claim. Some dude got hurt on the job. It was a big claim, right? So my insurance company ended up paying him out. It was like he got paid like $75,000 or whatever. He cut a couple fingers or whatever. So what happens? So my insurance company drops me, right? Now I have to get assigned through the state to get workers' comp policy. And now I have to pay double what I was paying before, and I have to pay it all up front.
Yep.
Like because I'm a risk now. ZP Painting's a risk. So now I get assigned to the risk. It's just you name it, insurance, real estate, it's all
rent.
It's all a game, dude. And you just have to figure out how to play it. Like, dude, I hate to say it, and I'm not a racist person, but if you're white and you have good credit, I mean, you can pretty much do anything nowadays. And that's sad that it's the way it is.
Right.
Because it takes away from the people that work hard, you know what I mean? The entrepreneurs that come from nothing, and it's not a fair playing field. It's not, and it's almost sad, bro.
Yeah, no, it's crazy just to think about, all the opportunities that like you said, if we were all just educated into things and topics that mattered, how much, like, the generations after us, how much better off they'll be. Even our generation, like, if we were educated on what the game really is and on what the top 1% really is doing behind the scenes, we would be wiser to do what we had to do to be able to buy, or to not accept that, well, I'm not qualified, so I got to go pay triple in rent. Like, we wouldn't be in that position. How many people, Mike can even look this up. How many people our age, can't afford a home because of debt, or just their wage is too low, or the values of properties are too high. Just all these formulas come into play where people they're never going to be able to own a property.
It's a nightmare.
And that's part of what was and maybe still is the American dream, to be able to own a home and have a piece of land that's under your name.
Right. Me and Janine bought our house. We have a house in Cherry Hill. We bought it in 2017. And that was one of the best things we could have ever did, because now I see people now dealing with trying to get homes with the pandemic and everything. I don't know if you're up on the real estate market. But
I'm versed. I'm very versed.
It's fucking crazy right now.
Things sell in 2 hours.
My sister-in-law has been trying to buy a house now. She's been staying with us for 7 months. She can't get a house. She's offering 5, 10, 15 grand over asking. Yep. She can't get it. Houses are going on not even on the market yet, like pre-sale.
10 offers.
And there's 10 people without even seeing the house. There's 15, 20 offers with $15, $20, $30,000 over asking. It's just sad, man. But I think there's going to be a burst. Yep. I was just talking to one of my when
did you buy your house?
2017.
So you got in before the hotness of it, which is good. You didn't have. Yeah. There was way more inventory.
Right.
See that now, no inventory. 45 buyers.
Dude, we bought our house for $200. We bought it as is. It needed a ton of work. So just so happens I know a guy. Yeah. So we bought it for $230,000. Houses in my neighborhood right now, the same house that aren't as nice as mine because I redid everything.
Almost
$450.
Oh, over $450. And then with the kitchen, the granite, the floors,
the finished basement, the deck on the back, the remodeled bathrooms. Oh, dude, it's in the market. But here's the thing: I was just talking to my investor buddy the other day, and he said that he was doing some research, and I think it's 19% of America are behind on their mortgage right now. Yeah,
that's 1 out of every 5.
Right,
are behind.
So what that means is houses are selling in 2.5 seconds right now. You can't get a fucking house to save your life, right? In 6 months, dude, when all these back taxes come back and the IRS starts getting back on their paperwork since all the pandemic and the free money and shit is over with, people are going to be losing their houses left and right. I think there's going to be a ton of inventory between the next 6 to 8 months. I could be wrong. I don't, you know what I mean? That's like me telling you the next stock that's going to take off.
Right.
You know, I don't know
the next cryptocurrency, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying because 1 out of every 5 really isn't going to pay their mortgage, those are all going to go into default once the IRS can catch up.
Boom, exactly. It's a catch up game now.
And then once it catches up, default foreclosures, properties are just going to be getting short.
Because you know why you can't get a house right now? You can't get a house right now because the pandemic hit, and everyone who owned a house was like, we need to buckle down.
We're not selling it.
We're not selling.
No one's selling.
We're not selling our house. And everyone who doesn't have a house just got fucking extra $600 a week for 15 weeks.
And now they want to buy.
And they came into a couple $1,000s and like, yo, we could go put this on a down payment of a house. Let's go buy a house.
Right.
And the banks are just approving everybody, right? So it's like everyone's out to fucking buy a house, and there's no houses to buy. So it's a nightmare market.
You were talking about it's your wife's sister.
So
your sister-in-law, well, soon-to-be wife. Same thing. You were saying she's been looking 7-8 months.
7 months. She's looking for a house.
Before I bought my property, I looked. And it's the same story for every person. I looked at several properties. When it would come up, let's go look at it. You got to look at it within 10 minutes of it popping up.
Right.
So you can even get a showing to give an offer.
Right.
And you got to give the offer like that day.
Right.
Which became normal with how the market is. So I looked at, several properties, and the ones that I did want to put offers in, I was either, the 10th offer on the list, which wasn't even going to get looked at.
Right.
Or I was way under, the best and final of the offer from someone else. So, people are already asking over asking, and it's still not good enough because someone was given even more.
Yep.
Then, because there's no inventory, you're looking online, and it's the same 4 properties that you already looked at that you didn't get.
Right.
And now they're even saying pending. So, it was just a matter, and that's the game now with it. You got to literally be like refreshing it like your fucking Instagram to jump on it. And hope that your offer was, and then you got to come in right away over asking.
It's kind of chaos when you really sit back and think about it. But the people up top, right? The ones that pull
they're
the
ultimately
string,
winning.
They love it, dude.
Oh, they love it.
Because if it's not one thing, it's another. They want us to hate each other. This is just my opinion, right? But it's like they want us to be divided. They want us to hate each other, and they want us to depend on them. Like, I can't get a house. I need to be put in a house. I need help. I need your help, big government.
Yeah.
And it's like that's not the cornerstone that America was built on, man.
No,
it was like
competition and free market.
Yeah,
is what
anything's
we
out. The world is yours, right? You just go out and take it. But people don't have that mentality anymore.
People don't have that mentality because, like you said, they got. I don't want to say brainwashed, but they got accustomed to putting their hands out and letting the government, because it's like neutering the dog.
Right.
The government's keeping us tame by like paying us.
Yeah.
Acting like they're doing us a favor when they're not.
Right.
And I guess if you're smart, you see that. And again, like and because politics is never out of bounds for this podcast, you're obviously, I think we have similar political views as well when
Absolutely.
it comes to just being someone that started a business like you, and worked for every fucking thing he has.
Right.
It's clear that we're going to be see eye to eye on that. And it's funny you said that with the government trying to, like you said, with control. And Mike, look this up because I want to get the exact story. So I was talking to a friend today, actually. You know what's going on in the Texas, the power outages. You know how there's all this. So there was a big snowstorm.
Yeah, I saw
was like
that.
Record low temperatures. So basically what happened was, because I have a friend that lives out in San Marcos near Austin.
Okay.
So they never get snow. Long story short, it was like in the teens. That's how cold it was. And the power grid, obviously shut down and everyone's out of power. But supposedly, and I was trying to listen to what my helper Tommy said this morning. It has to do with Biden. Supposedly, because of the carbon tax, the grid didn't go out. Supposedly they purposely shut it off.
I love a conspiracy.
Because everybody was trying. What do you find in there? Because everybody was trying to use too much energy and it was costing them.
Conspiracy aside, speaking about fact, it's that a lot of the controversy was the pipeline was shut down. And
Right.
now that there's no access to natural gas.
That's why
nobody can heat their home now. Right?
So the natural gas, as Mike just said, is part of the reason.
Shut down and there's no way to use the natural gas. They use primarily wind turbines and
Because of that carbon tax that
Right.
Biden wants to do.
They were frozen and they couldn't function.
Right. So it comes back to
Green energy.
the green energy
The big
bill.
the big green deal.
Right. Which essentially, I guess
The new Green Deal, right.
I guess the point is like the government technically was behind some of, not to sound like a conspiracy guy, but the government was technically somewhat behind 10 million people in Texas losing power and freezing their asses off in their house for 2 weeks.
Right.
This has been going on for like 2 weeks. So it's just funny that, like you said, I think you made a good point. That the government, I personally believe the best government is the government that governs the least.
Right.
And lets us do our business. Prime example.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
My father, my dad's, he had the restaurant for 30 years.
Right.
In Mount Laurel. So he had it from 86 to I think 2010. So he would tell me, even to this day, because he talks about how I want to start all my businesses, and he says, look, in 1986 the inspection guy came once a year. By 1995 he started coming twice a year. 2009, 2010, the tail end, he had to get a 4 times a year inspection, and every time the guy came, he had to pay, and that's just for like fire. Then he had to have sanitation.
Yup.
So he's doing 30 times the amount of inspections and fees to the state than he did when he started his business. How is a business supposed to survive when they're just getting squeezed by governmental intrusion, if that's what you want to call it?
And you know what? And that makes me think. They make it. Their goal. The government's goal is to make it as hard as possible on you to run a business and be successful. Because if you have money and you're successful, then you can live free and you can think free. And they don't want that.
They don't want that.
At least that's my opinion, right?
I hear you.
So I was definitely upset when Trump lost. I'm worried about the Biden administration. Look, he's our president now. So
I wish him the best.
I hope he does good for us. I
I'm
really
the same
do.
way.
I don't have. My say is over with. I voted. I think they probably threw my shit right in the trash can at Cherry Hill Municipal. I'm pretty sure I watched them do it, but that's besides the point.
I might have watched them do it too in Medford.
Yeah,
I gave it to the mail
dude. They
guy.
didn't let me fucking go in the voting poll. What is that, bro?
I had to hand it to the
Dude,
I had to hand it to the guy.
Yeah.
I had to hand it to a guy that could have been dressed up in a USPS outfit.
Right.
I don't
Dude,
know
me
who
and
that
my
guy
wife
is.
walked in there and then because we didn't mail in our ballot, right? So because we didn't mail in our ballot, we had to like put it in this like envelope, and in the envelope we had to like put who we pretty much at the top of the envelope we had to put who we voted for. So I voted for Trump. I don't give a fuck. I say so did my wife. We handed the thing, and I'm pretty sure the dude looked at it and like put it in a separate pot. I'm like,
and we don't. That's the thing. We don't know. Like, it's not.
Oh,
it's not out of the
man,
realm
dude.
of possibility.
No.
That something happened that we're not seeing.
But if you say that nowadays to
Right.
someone on the left, you're a fucking lunatic. How could you possibly think the election was rigged?
Right. And
wow.
and I don't even go as far just to not give them enough rope to hang me with. I don't even, like a leftist, let's say. I don't even go that far. I'll even say, look, I'm not I'm not being extreme with my opinion here. I'm not saying, oh, it was rigged, it was this, it was fraud. I'm saying that can you at least agree that it's not out of the realm of possibilities?
They won't do it.
I'm not saying that this is what happened. I'm saying, can you just agree that it's not far-fetched of an idea that it could have happened?
Dude, Pat.
Even just giving them that
They
room.
won't do it.
And that's a reasonable
They won't do it.
question
Here's
to
the
ask.
thing. I have a really good friend. His name's Keith. We're actually doing a bunch of work at his house right now. I just bought a house. One of my
Keith from Mount Laurel?
No, he's a sober guy.
Okay.
Business owner. Dude, I love the guy to death, right? I love him to death.
Yeah.
We're great friends. We've been friends for a long time. Politics.
He's huge
complete
left.
opposite.
Yeah, and that's fine. I have friends that are very left.
We have arguments and debates. Especially this past election. We go back and forth.
Yeah.
And I would do anything for the dude. But when it comes to politics, we see complete opposite, and we know we do, and we just kind of put it on the back burner, and we still do our thing, as friends would. And I love that we have that relationship, because it goes to show me that, when the election was happening, it's real, and all the social media shit, and
everybody
the riots and the debate and all this shit's going on, right? It's fucking chaos. People are getting killed. They're storming the fucking Capitol building. Whatever. But it just goes to show me that we're humans before anything else.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you can get on some type of a human level with another person, left or right, and still, the world can still be good. Yeah. Right? But my points are how they directly affect my life. I like Trump because he said it how it was. Do I think he offended too many people along the way? Yeah, he probably did, which probably isn't a great look. I think if he wasn't that way, he might have still been president, but that's just not who he is, right? And what he did for the economy as a business owner, right? As an entrepreneur in 2021, a 30-year-old, what he did for the economy, the stock market, just everything across the board worked for me. He cut my taxes. He cut my payroll taxes. He cut my income taxes. He cut my property taxes.
So your margins were getting bigger.
Correct. So my family's living better, right? It directly affects me and my family, which is why I voted the way I voted. But then there's people out there who know nothing about nothing and just say Trump's a racist. I'm voting for Biden.
Right.
And it's
it was
I
even
just
the
wish
Obama
people would
thing.
have an opinion with some facts behind it.
Right. And it's funny.
have a fucking opinion. You know what I mean?
An educated opinion. And
correct.
And it's funny you said that. I have a good friend, a real good friend of mine. He actually went to law school with me, so he's very left. He's very extreme left. And we were actually talking about opening up our own law practice at some point. We got a whole big plan. I can get it.
I think I remember that. I could be off base though.
So he's 2 years older than me, but we have a plan with what we want to do from a business standpoint with a law practice, and we want to make it as successful as possible. Anyway, he's very, very left. He really doesn't like Trump at all. He's very on the Democratic side, which is fine. And that's the point. We and him are really good friends. We talk on the phone maybe twice a week.
Right.
And we can have conversations about political stuff. It's mostly on the back burner. I'm not going to go in there and say I love Trump. How dare you not like him? We don't cut the ice like that.
You want to understand the other person's viewpoint.
Right.
At least as someone on the right, if we're going to have a discussion, I want to understand. Talk to me. Why do you feel this way?
Right. So me and him can have educated conversations and respect each other's opinion, because at the end of the day, I don't care if you like the Eagles or the Cowboys.
Right.
That's an opinion that two people can disagree on.
Correct.
Just as if you voted for this president, I voted for that one. You can break it down to something as we're all gonna think, we're all not going to think the same, but we can, like you said, we can all still be friends, and there are things about him that we do agree on.
Right.
We might not be certain political things, and so that's what a lot of people. And I think social media drove that into people's heads.
Man, it was bitter.
You have to pick a side. You have to, so-and-so is going to piss you off, and you have to retaliate, and you can't hear anybody out. It's just, this is what I'm going to word vomit on the keyboard, and I'm not hearing you out at all. And that's been the back and forth, especially around the election. And
I fell victim to some of them Facebook battles. Yes, sir. I
you
did.
Jumped in. Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Listen. At the end of the day,
if I'm in the game, I'm playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's.
I agree.
Janine would look over at me at night and she'd be
Now,
like,
is
"What are
she-
you doing?" I'll be like, "I'm in a fucking heated Facebook debate right now."
with some lady that you're never going to
Yeah,
meet.
exactly.
So when now what's her views? I don't know her. too much.
Janine?
She's just kind of with you.
She's conservative.
Okay.
Yeah, she's conservative. She
What does she do for work? Does she work?
So Janine is an occupational therapist assistant. So she's an OTA. So she went to school for that. She got a job right out of school. She worked there. It's the same place for like 3 or 4 years over in Philly.
Okay.
And then we moved to Jersey. Well, she moved to Jersey and still worked out there because she's from PA.
Okay, nice.
Delaware County, Delco. girl.
Delco, yeah, Delco.
And so we moved into our first condo together 2016, 17. And we lived there for a year. And then we bought the house in Cherry Hill. And she hated driving to Philly. So she was like, I forget what happened. Oh, a new company came in and took over. So they gave all the old employees the choice. They were like, look, you can still work here under the new company.
name,
Yeah. Or you can, you can leave. And she was like, I think this is my time where I'm going to go get another job in Jersey. So I don't have to drive to PA and pay the city taxes and pay the toll and the gas and all that. And I was like,
bridge every
anything
day.
she wants to do, I support her because anything I want to do, she supports me. So I'm like, babe, that's what you want to do.
job over here on this
I'm
side.
cool with it.
Right.
She couldn't find a job to save her life, dude. So she was unemployed for like 8 months, 7 months. Long story short, she found a job, and she's been working there for almost, I think, a year now. And she works in Care One in Morristown.
Okay, like to helping the older.
Yeah, but here's the thing: ever since COVID, she wants out. She wants out of the healthcare. She can't take it how they, she says it's an ugly business. At least Care One is. I'm
When
like
it comes to like how they treat
slandering-
employees,
Yeah.
how she's treated as an employee, or how they treat the
Just how they treat their employees, how they treat the clients and the patients. She wants no parts of it. She like for so many years she like loved it. She loved helping people. She's a very gentle, warm person. And
And then now with COVID has probably added extra layer of
dude.
angst and fear.
She doesn't want the vaccine. She
and then
she
the
wants
masks,
no
and
parts.
people are already like it's just extra aggravation. I think that's a good word.
She's
to use.
worried that like her job's gonna make her get the vaccine. She doesn't want it because we had COVID in April of
you
last
did?
year.
So you like
We had it early, bro.
You did test for it.
So
Or
she
you
did through work. She got it at work, brought it home to me. She tested positive last April.
And then did you get tested?
I
or
didn't get tested.
You just felt like shit. And
Dude,
were like,
I would
have it.
never get tested. I don't give a fuck. And
Right.
I just like I never paid for a mask. Like I don't put that time and energy into
Right,
it.
you just got.
But
you felt sick.
I was as sick as she was. I had
Probably
it.
had it.
No,
right,
I
right.
know I had
Yeah,
it.
okay,
You know
okay.
what I mean?
Or you could have just had a bad cold or what happened to the regular flu?
Yeah, there were no cases this year.
You could have. I mean, you could have.
The regular flu's gone, bro. They didn't tell you.
Right. Well, so you obviously if she tested positive for it, you
And
probably
I had the same.
it.
I had the
But-
same. Yeah.
But like it's not out of the realm that you could have just been sick.
No, it's
People
not.
can still get just sick.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
And I talk to Mike about that all the time. Here's my logic, and you might. I want to hear your thoughts on it. I mean, so remember, I guess now I think because of the COVID, I think their whole thing is you can be asymptomatic, and that's what's dangerous. You could spread it to people that can actually get
It's very
sick.
contagious.
So I was just thinking back to pre-COVID world. Everything that COVID has done or is doing, it's novel, but it's not concepts we haven't seen. For example, the asymptomatic. When you're a little kid, you heard of strep throat. Johnny's a carrier, but Steve and Billy got really sick. So Johnny went to school, and he was fine because he's just a carrier, asymptomatic. But Billy and Steve got sick because he went to class. So that's been happening. So it's something that we've been living with the concept of asymptomatic. So I guess my point is, why make such extreme measures when we never did before? I mean, I get it. It was a new thing. I think we're a year into it now. I think it's at the point now where we know enough about it, where we can
You want my opinion?
I mean, let's hear it.
You know why they did such extreme measures and why we just went through as a globe
It comes down to the neuter and the dogs.
United States election.
Right. Well, the election plus continuing control as
There's
they
so
could
much
hold on to it.
agenda behind coronavirus. Whatever happened to getting sick and getting better, or letting your or having an immune system?
Right, well, that's what I said. Like, you get
What's
sick.
up with my immune system if I can't walk into Wawa and buy a soft pretzel without having? Now they're saying 2 masks on my face, right? It's better to have 2 masks than 1. Like, is that not the most fucking ridiculous thing you've ever heard?
Let me hear this.
How about 3?
Right, yeah, 3. Now, what's next? So the point I'm getting to is the scary part isn't coronavirus. It's what the government was able to do with coronavirus as the mask. You know what I mean? Like coronavirus, here's our big problem. This is what you have to do. You have to stay inside. You can't open your business. You can't go to work. Your kids can't go to school. Like, that is so extremely scary to a free man like me. It's like, dude, I went out and bought way more guns, way more ammo. Like, you have to. Not like I can do anything with it in the state of New Jersey, because in New Jersey you can't even leave your house with your own gun.
Yeah,
dude, if you broke in, another thing, if you broke into my house and there's
no castle doctrine like in Florida or
and you're stealing fucking thousands of dollars in jewelry out of my safe, I can't shoot you. And if I do and I shoot you and I kill you, I go to jail for the rest of my life. Right. And you broke into my house in New Jersey, I can't, because unless there's a threat. And even if there's a threat and I shoot and kill you, then we go to trial.
Right, there's going to be an argument about the facts. You know, castle doctrine in other states.
How did it go?
If they step into your house, this is my property, my castle. I can use deadly force no matter what.
So the United States was built on the Constitution, and you're going to tell me that the government can come in and alter the Constitution any way they want because of a health crisis like coronavirus? Right. They can strip away the rights of hardworking Americans and shut their businesses down forever. Dave Pontry said it the best. He said, because you know how he would go on his spurts with the Barstool guy with his videos. Portnoy. I say Pontry. I don't know why.
Yeah, you know Portnoy.
Portnoy.
Yeah, what
he said it. He said it the best. And it was one sentence in one of his rants, and he said, "I would rather die from coronavirus than lose my business that I spent the last 10 years building from nothing."
Right.
And I couldn't identify with anything more in my entire life. I would rather die from this coronavirus than be stripped of everything that I busted my ass for over the past decade to build and put my family in the position and myself that we're in.
No, I hear you. It's a topic that, I mean, it's always going to be talked about from here on out. I mean, this is going to be in the history books. And,
right.
And let's rewind a little, because I want to ask you a question. And again, I brought this up to Mike, and I try to be logical, and I try to act as if I'm talking to someone that's on the complete opposite side of an opinion.
The other end of the spectrum, right?
So that I don't they don't have a good. So as a lawyer, the strategy is to kind of relate to them so that they don't have a good counter argument. Because when you're litigating, let's say, the other party who has a different view, they have their counter argument ready to fire back at you. So the way I can combat that is to even give someone the benefit of the doubt. So here, let's just say, devil's advocate, let's just say, you know what, to someone that's really afraid of this, I'll say, look, I'm not discounting the virus. I won't say that it's fake. I'll say that it actually is real and it's killing people, which is true. Let's say it is something that is harmful, which it very well could be. I want to take a poll to 100 people, and I'm going to ask you, what would you, when it comes to the masks, you have 2 options, and they said, all right, you got to go through door A or door B. Which one's going to be safer? Door A, you go into a big store, a big establishment. There's 500 people in there, like a huge grocery store.
Right.
They all have a mask on, but there's 500 people in here, which is a pretty crowded shop, right? Supermarket. Everybody has a mask. That's door A. Or do you want to go through door B, where it's a little mom and pop, and there's 5 people inside, and no one has a mask? In your eyes, which scenario would be safer? 5 people in a room with no mask, or 500 with? Because when you answer your question, I'm going to tell you my point. 500 people in a store with everyone wearing a mask, or a store where there's 4 people and no one has a mask. Which one's safer?
So I'm not a scientist, right? So
Neither am I.
So I don't know the scientific ratio between what can get in and get out through a mask.
Just pure logic and your instinct.
I can tell you this: when I paint, we spray a lot, right? We spray exteriors, cabinets, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and you got it covered.
I wear a respirator.
Yeah.
Because the fumes will come in. If I spray with a surgical mask on, and I take it off when I'm done, there's still white paint all in my nose. Why is that?
Right.
Because it still comes right through. So to simply answer your question, for me, I think my chance, if I haven't had coronavirus, see, I got coronavirus early,
right.
so I didn't give a fuck from early.
Right.
You know what I mean? I got sick, I got better, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Antibodies.
Right.
All right. So,
but let's just say I didn't have coronavirus, right? And you asked me that question, I would say my chances of retracting coronavirus are less if I go in the mom and pop store because there's only 5 people in there,
right.
opposed to being around 500.
Right.
Mask or no mask.
Right. So to further the point from your answer, so then to question everything, well, why, just from a scientific standpoint, I want to ask a doctor or someone, I want to say, well, why can 632 people be in a ShopRite with all wearing masks? Why is that, like, what is that really safer,
Pat,
than being in a store with 6 people and no one has a mask?
they won't have an answer for you.
I want just a, like,
They'll lie to you. They're going to tell you something that doesn't make sense, that sounds like it could possibly make sense.
Talking in circles. I want a straight shooter answer. And like you said, I don't think I probably won't get one.
No.
I will not get that straight shooter answer.
Dude, I mean, even look back with Dr. Anthony Fauci, when he said early on, no mask.
Is that your boy, Mike?
Yeah, no, dude, he's the fucking worst, this guy. No mask, a mask can't help you. He literally said that to the world.
The back and forth of
it's
what's
like, I don't know.
So we should all be, listen, I just think from a bottom line.
I don't think the masks are going anywhere either, unfortunately.
Right. I just think from a logical standpoint, we should all be able to choose what we're comfortable with. If you want to wear a mask,
And look,
God bless
I'm
you.
not like, so here's the thing. Like, I have we have a client,
You're
right?
in their house, they're over there wearing a mask.
We have a client. So I probably do 5 to 10 estimates a week.
Yeah.
So
You're in house A,
I'm
house
knocking
B.
on someone's door that I've never met before. And I would say it's about 50-50. Mask or no mask.
Right.
So I don't put one on. I bring one in my pocket.
in case they care.
Do you mind if you mask up? No problem. Put it on, right? It's my business. It's fine. No problem. Like, we have a client who has health conditions, and he hasn't gotten the vaccine yet, and he just feels better. When we're outside, he'll take the mask off and he'll talk. But when we go inside the house,
Right.
he just asks that we put a mask on.
50 say put it on, 50 say
I
I
have
don't
no
care.
problem with that.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, people did die. Like, for instance, I was so against the mask, and I was so against, like, hardcore, all of it, right? And then a guy in our sober living house died.
From
Coronavirus.
No. Oh, really?
Well, no, that's a lie. He didn't die from coronavirus.
died while he had it.
died and recently had coronavirus. But he had tons of health conditions. He was in his 50s. He was overweight. He had diabetes, and he had pneumonia.
He happened to have COVID.
And he had a drug history, an alcohol history, and
Well, there's such thing as dying of
he
COVID.
had pneumonia.
Well, so
He died of pneumonia,
Right, so-
but he had COVID, shortly before. Like, he went to the hospital for having COVID, came back to the house. His breathing was still off. Rest in peace, Vinny. His breathing was still off. So he went back to the hospital.
How old was he? You said 50?
He was in his 50s, and he passed away in the hospital the second time. And the fucked up part of it is his poor family couldn't even be in there when he was taking his last breath. They had to watch it through an iPad.
Oh.
Like, can't you let them make the decision if they want to be in there or not?
If I'm gonna control, like, would your
It's
mom?
that
would
kind
your
of
mom
shit.
care if she got exposed to COVID to be in front of? Like,
It's
would
terrible.
Your mom care, Mike?
No.
She would risk dying.
She would
Yeah,
say,
exactly.
she would say, COVID is no match for my love for my son.
150%.
So it's we're gonna wrap up soon, but like,
I'm just making sure no work calls are
No,
coming
yeah,
in.
I know. Listen, I get it.
You're good.
We're gonna wrap because we're gonna wrap up soon and then get into the editing. But, what was I gonna say? Yeah, with the mask. So, or with COVID and having conditions. So, I was listening to a podcast a couple months ago, and I think the guy made a good point. He said there's dying of COVID and there's dying with COVID.
Correct.
So they're very different things. A lot of people might have died with COVID, meaning it was something they happened to have, but they may not have died otherwise without X, Y, and Z other conditions. So that's why they died with it, not of it.
When you say that, this is where my mind takes it. Did a lot of people lose their life earlier than they would have if COVID-19 wasn't around? Yeah, I'm sure they did. But what we fail to look at and what we fail to tell the public, right? The mainstream media just lies to us and tells us what the agenda pushing government and politicians want them to tell us. But lost my train of thought. What was I saying, Pat?
You were saying what they don't want to tell you about dying with or of COVID, because there's, have people lost their life sooner because of it?
Yeah, they did. But people die all the time sooner than they're supposed to for a million other reasons.
Pneumonia,
I could get
the flu.
Knock on wood. I could get in a car crash on the way home. Like this, people OD. That's life. I feel like the powers to be, like whether you call it God, Buddha, the universe, whatever. There's something bigger than us, right? There's something that created us, okay?
Absolutely.
So whoever created, when it's your time to go, I'm a firm believer, it's your time to go. You know what I mean? There's being safe and being preventative, but like at the end of the day, fate is fate, right? The fact that we're sitting here right now, thank you God, right? But when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. I don't know. And then you could bring in a nurse here who was on the front lines and has a completely different opposite thought process than me. You weren't there. You didn't see it. Look, I get it. I don't know it because I didn't live it. I get that it was rough, and I get that it's contagious.
Well, just from the sheer volume and the long hours they were putting in, having these masks covering their faces, like that was rough because of what they experienced. That still has nothing to do with.
Yo, remember this? 14 days to slow the spread.
Yeah, right. And then it was April 30th. Remember? And then it was
June, May, June. It's just like it's a fucking nightmare.
No, it is. And like, let me ask you this real quick. With for the future, in your, no one has a crystal ball, obviously, but with your educated guess with the masks, what you said, you don't think they're going anywhere, as in people will always have the option to wear them, people will choose to wear them like China, or there's going to be a requirement factor. Where do you see it?
I think at least for the next year, and I'm upset to say this because I'm getting married in October, and I'm just putting this out there. If you watch this and you're coming to my wedding, if you wear a mask, I'm going to kick you straight where the sun doesn't shine. No mask will be allowed at my wedding. But here's the thing. My wedding's in Philly. Philly could say if you're 500 people over, if you're over 200 people inside facility in Philadelphia, you have to wear a mask. Then what? You know what I mean? Then I won't get married there.
What if you did it like an outdoor farm?
We're not doing an outdoor thing though,
right,
bro.
We're
not. Our venue is our venue. It's Chess Cafe in Philadelphia, Center City.
It's in. You said this coming fall.
It's in October.
So you're saying it's probably still going to be required. I mean, optional.
I don't know. Who the fuck knows? But all I'm saying is now that Biden's in office, they got what they wanted. I feel like
let him be the hero.
I feel like they're gonna milk the mask thing as long as they possibly can. Like, wear the mask, wear the mask, wear the mask. I already don't wear the mask I'll go into Home Depot without it on, not to like be a heavyweight,
what did
because
say?
I'm not. They don't say anything. No one says anything to me.
Did they used to get on your ass and they're getting lax?
Yeah.
So do you see it being lax, or is it because
lax?
of you?
Employees have it half down. People are just throwing shit over their mouth with their nose hanging out.
I see the nose hanging out a lot more now.
Oh my! The gym.
Oh, how's it at the gym? I'm sure people are more
Dude, when the
lax.
gym first opened up, Lifetime I go to.
Yeah, I used to go
in
there.
Mount Laurel.
So I canceled. I didn't re-up because when they reopened, because I'm not going there.
Right.
With the mask.
When it first reopened, so like I'm talking days, I was right back in.
Okay.
You know, and I went first week, probably the middle of the second week of them being open. I got a call from the GM or whatever at Lifetime saying, "Hey Zach, giving me a talk about how I need to keep my mask fully up when I'm in the gym." So I don't know if they saw me on they had me on camera.
Was it like here, like
I'm walking on the treadmill.
Was it at least covering your mouth?
Yeah.
I think if this is the argument, then it's like, come on, dude. It's pennies to the dollar.
Where I find myself now currently is I've been going into, because I pretty much drive all day long, so I'm in and out of Home Depot, Benjamin Moore, Sherwin-Williams, Dunkin' Donuts for a coffee, you name it. I'm in and out of places. I would just put it like around here or like around my mouth, and I'm like, why even do that? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just, Right. I'm just
Well,
not.
when you're at Home Depot in aisle 12 looking at the lumber, what did Joe Smith say that worked there? Did he? No one's a hero. No one's trying to be like come after you, like because
What do
like,
you mean?
I get yelled at. If
Oh,
I go
what did the
somewhere.
guy from the gym say to me?
I'm saying like when you said you were at Home Depot like last week and you didn't even have it on.
No, I didn't bring
and
one.
nobody says anything.
No,
I mean that's why do you think that is?
because people are over it. People are over it, and they see it is what it is, and life has to go on. So, and it's gonna go on one way or another. Dude, I feel like so many people have had COVID at this point. Like
we talked about it that we might have had it and never knew it. I don't, or I could have never had it. I don't know.
Right.
I'm around, how many people a day am I around? I'm around thousands of people every day in different counties.
Right.
Because I travel for work, and I mean, from the law of averages, I was probably exposed to it.
Right.
At least, so I don't know. I didn't get the antibodies test, and like you said, there are very sarcastically saying heroic people out there that I've gotten verbally assaulted for having it not like I didn't even not have it on. I had it on maybe like a little under my nose, and I've gotten verbally attacked and harassed by like a Karen, let's say.
Yeah.
And
No,
I'm
so
thinking to
I
myself,
almost fucked a dude up in Wawa. Yeah. So.
Some guy was trying to be a hero.
No,
it's like mind your own business.
Exactly.
And then you know what they say? Well, this is my business. It's real. Well, how is it your business? You're 13 feet away from me,
right?
And I'm not breathing on you. Just don't even look at me like. Don't bring politics or like me being a good or bad guy into it. Bring logic into it. I'm not saying that things aren't real or real. I'm saying, look, if you're by that counter and I'm by the coffee at Wawa on the other side of the room and I'm not breathing on you. What do you really and you have your mask on? What, like, logically speaking, what is your concern? Like, answer that question.
And the craziest thing of it is, I could be mistaken. You might have to fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure when the whole mask thing came out, that like wear a mask, it's not to protect you, it's to protect the people around
right,
you.
So my mask protects you.
So
I'm
that's why it makes you the bad
I'm
guy,
the dick.
right?
And
so
I got that. But I mean,
I don't know, dude.
So it's one way. The masks work one way.
Right.
The mask works one way. How does that work? I don't know.
So I want to hear the Wawa story. So you're,
Wawa.
You don't even have the scarf. Nothing.
No, so I'm in Wawa. I have the mask half on. No, I have the mask fully on, and I'm in line, and I get a call from my partner, Mike. So I pull it down halfway so I can talk on the phone, and I'm on the phone like this, in line, and this old gentleman is behind me. He's 6 feet behind me, and he screams out of nowhere, "Put your mask on!" Da, 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 da. And I looked at him. I said, "You got the wrong fucking one, buddy." And I said, "Who the fuck are you?" I was out of line. I acted out of line because I'm not that person.
Right. And you're in.
But it was a build-up. It was a build-up,
of
right?
The other 45 people.
Correct.
And he just happened to be the victim.
He got it. And I said, "Who the fuck are you? The sheriff of Wawa, dude?" And he screamed something else. And then the guy behind him, you could tell, was a true patriot. He was like, "Yo, yo, 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 yo," telling the dude to relax.
Oh, the guy behind him was more of like a...
So I was heated, dude. So I paid for my stuff. I'm still telling this guy to eat shit pretty much in the nicest way possible.
What did
in
the
Wawa.
cashier do?
Yeah, the cashier's just like...
So you pay.
I pay, and I say, "Yo, come outside. I got to talk to you." And I wait outside for him, right?
How old was
I'm
it?
steaming. He was older. He was
you
probably
were
like
gonna-
in his late 50s,
And
early 60s.
You wanted him to come outside, I assume, to have a conversation.
Correct.
Not kill the guy. Right.
Correct.
So
what am
you're
I? I'm not going to touch
Right,
this
no,
guy.
so you're outside.
I'm not an asshole.
Yeah.
And he comes outside, and I say, "What in the right mind makes you think it's okay to scream at another person like that?"
Yeah.
That's what I said to him.
Let's on a human level.
And yeah,
I am
that's
a
what I
human
said.
being.
That's what I said.
I'm a human
I
being.
calmed down probably about 35%
Right,
at that point. And I said, "What makes it think it's okay for you to talk to me like that?" And I said, "I demand an apology right now." I said that to this guy. I kind of put my nuts on the table. I said, "I demand an apology." And he looks at me and he goes, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry."
And then your car and his car, you guys leave.
And I just said, I knew it. You're soft. You know what I mean? Like, you're in Wawa and you can scream at the top of your lungs to me when my mask is half up, but then when we're standing outside, you can't even be a man.
Now, Now, what's the now?
Insane.
What if he was like, "No, I'm not apologizing." Like, obviously, I mean, because like,
I don't
you're
know.
not gonna listen. You're not gonna beat the dude up. I know. You're just gonna be like, "Well, that's the type of person you are, and you're gonna leave." Because that's the.
I would hope so. My character, I would hope I would be like, okay. I mean,
Best of
chances are there might have been a couple more F-bombs being thrown.
But that's it. Yeah.
But I'm getting in my truck. I'm keeping it moving.
Right. You got shit to do.
Right.
Yeah, but like you said, I think people got away from that. I've gotten berated in public places too, and I'm like, look, I am a human being. Like, you talk to me like one. If you came up and say, sir, I know you're working really hard, and you're packing out stuff for Cento, you're making sure that I can buy stuff here. Can you just do me a favor and pull that over your nose? You know what, man? No problem.
Yep.
My pleasure. But if you say, put your mask up, pull your mask up,
like you have some type of authority, or you're up here. That doesn't sit well with anyone since the beginning of time. You know what I mean?
Can you put your mask on? Like,
right.
Listen, tone is in anything in life. Tone is everything.
Exactly.
How you approach me with what you want to portray. If your tone is right, you're not going to get the resistance that I just gave you, or that you just gave that guy
right.
at Wawa.
Exactly.
So I'm a human being. Can you speak? What gives you the right to talk to me like that to another human
mask
being?
or no mask? Yeah.
I don't care if I cut in front. It had nothing to do with the mask. If I cut in front of you accidentally, in walking in, and you got kind of bent out of shape about it, talk to me politely.
It's a judgment thing.
Yeah.
We're all guilty of it. People judge. I mean, you think of it like this: if someone cuts in front of you in Wawa line, and he's got his pants sagging to his ass and a backwards hat.
Oh, look at this
with tattoos and.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be happy about it? Or are you gonna say something? Yo, dude, what do you? There's a line,
Right.
But if someone gets in front of you in Wawa and they're in a wheelchair, what are you gonna say? Chances for me, I'm not gonna say anything.
I'm gonna let them go. Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's a perception thing.
Right. That is a good
The way
point.
people perceive you
Does it make one
is how
more or less right than the other? No.
No.
Right.
Yep.
That's a
great.
good point.
It's crazy.
So we're gonna end. Listen, that was a great episode, Zach. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Anything else, Mike, to add?
On the businesses.
Oh yeah, plug your businesses. We're gonna. You have the 3 going on right now. Say the names of them. Give the IG handles if you want. We're gonna plug them right in the visual.
Yeah, ZP. Yeah, ZP Paint and Remodel. I think it's ZP_Paint _remodel. And Comeback Season Sober Living. It's CMBK_season. Comeback. Or no, it's COMEBK. Comeback abbreviated _season. Check us out. Give us a follow. Give us support. We'll follow back. We'll support. That's what it's all about, man.
You guys are doing cool stuff, and I appreciate you coming in. You just keep going. I think you're gonna do well.
You got it. Thank you, guys. Awesome stuff.
Everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed. Feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in. Let me in. Yeah. Grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable.